The Institute of Christ the King saga in Chicago seems to be getting a lot of focus at the moment. And I've just saw this Twitter feed from Mike Lewis from where Peter is. I just want to read through it. And as Mike says, I haven't paid attention to the story for a couple of days, but it seems that the Institute of Christ the King had the opportunity to continue ministering and celebrating the sacraments in Chicago, but apparently elected to leave rather than listen to the Pope and Bishop, some claim. We haven't seen the agreement they refused to sign, but it appears that the decision to leave was theirs. They essentially chose pride and liturgical form over providing the sacraments and pastoral ministry to the people of God in Chicago. Interesting claim. There is no indication that they were going to be compelled to do the Vatican II liturgy, so I imagine they weren't. Really, Mike? Really? Because St. John Cantius, they were compelled to do it. They had to change the way they're doing the Mass. Why would St. John Cantius be compelled and, have to do this, and the Institute of Christ the King were given a waiver? What are we getting to back this up? Anyway, going on. If I had to guess, something like the highlighted sections below from the Archdiocesan policies are likely in the agreement. Let's see here. We keep in mind the value of seeking the good of those who are rooted in previous traditions, but also demonstrate that he is accompanying them towards the common use of the lex orandi in the Roman Rite. And additionally, in making this the request, it must be explicitly affirm the legitimacy of the liturgical reform, the teaching of the Second Vatican Council, and the magisterium of the Roman pontiffs. I mean, I don't know. If people are not aware, the Institute of Christ the King have never denied Vatican II. They have been stellar in their obedience to the local bishop. I mean, let's be clear that they love the church. I mean, where is Mike pulling this out of? Anyway, going on. If they would rather shut down than submit to episcopal and papal authority on matters of liturgical discipline, then I'd say they are unfit to serve any diocese. And what's at the root of decisions like this? The issue is really unity. Oh, Mike, come on. Really? I mean, this is some leap to make, that they don't want to submit to episcopal and papal authority. They've been very prudent in remaining quiet about this whole incident. They haven't published anything that Cardinal Cupich has spoken to them about. So, come on. Anyway, so I replied there, but there was Father Z's blog today, and let's just go through this as well. Hilarious statement that the Archdiocese of Chicago about the suppression of the Institute of Christ the King. On July 31st, the Shrine of Christ the King communicated to the Archdiocese that they would stop offering Mass and other sacraments in the shrine. It was their choice to do so, the Archdiocese said in a statement on Wednesday. I couldn't find the statement on the website of the Archdiocese. Maybe one of you can. Think about this. The Institute was being forced by Cupich into a situation that Cupich knew was a deal breaker. The issue, Cupich told them they had to sign something that they admitted that the Novus Ordo was the only expression of the Roman Rite, or else. Remember that Pope Benedict had taught that we have the ordinary and the extraordinary expression of the Roman Rite. It seems now under the Pope Francis, there is no extraordinary expression of the Roman Rite. There is only the Novus Ordo, which so we have two popes who taught, two living, one emeritus and one living in office, two popes that have taught two different things. It seems a very interesting time. And under Pope Benedict, many people, many groups availed of what Pope Benedict had offered anyway. Of course, no one from the Institute could sign that, and he knew it. Therefore, it was their choice to suspend masses. Question mark. B as in B, S as in S, we can all get it. It was Thomas More's and John Fisher's choice to have their heads cut off. You know, he's making a point. I mean, Thomas More could just have signed the document and, you know, he would have been fine. It doesn't make any difference how many times and into what sort of document the claim that the Novus Ordo is the only expression of the Roman Rite. It is painfully absurd. It is false. Repeating it is tantamount to the implementation of the big lie technique. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like saying that the Novus Ordo is the only Mass in the Catholic Church that can be celebrated. It's a lie. So, anyway, the irony of this is that according to the statement, I suppose the Institute could now respond in another statement that since it is, according to the Archdiocese, our choice to suspend Masses, we've changed our minds. We will start the schedule forthwith. Hey, traditional Catholics are pro-choice after all. Father Z is going on anyway. The Sunday Times has made more hilarious statement that from the Archdiocese. It only makes what ABC station reported worse, if anything. A representative for the Archdiocese disputed Blackman, saying the decision to stop the Masses was made by the Church. They chose to discontinue the Masses and sent the Archdiocese a letter on July 31st stating that they would stop offering the Mass and other sacraments at the shrine, said Susan Thomas, a spokesman for the Archdiocese. They were not denied. We did not ban them. They chose to discontinue altogether. The shrine had the option to continue Latin Mass under the guidelines, and decided not to. Excuse me, what guidelines? What are these new guidelines? Something has changed. It is false. It is a false statement that we have a citywide Latin Mass ban. That's simply untrue. Latin Mass is offered in the Archdiocese. So what's the story with St. John Cantius? Early this year, Cardinal Blaise Cupich sent instructions to the parishes and shrines for the continuation of the Latin Mass in a manner consistent with the decree of Pope Francis, Thomas said. Cupich stated in the instructions, as of January 25th, 2022, all priests and deacons and instituted ministers need to request and receive permission from the Archbishop of Chicago if they wish to celebrate the Mass in Latin. The Cardinal listed several conditions that need to be met in making such request, most of them dealing with recent reforms in the Church. Latin Mass continues in the Archdiocese under these instructions. When you don't have an Easter Triduum, I believe. Anyway, this is an example of lying by admission. An important fact is left out by the Archdiocese's box, that the Institute was being forced in order to stay functioning to agree to something the Archbishop knew they could not agree to. Similarly, St. Thomas More would have taken the oath of supremacy depending on the wording. However, the wording was such that More could not have even a mental reservation about it. Hence, he had to either lie to himself or to God and sign, and thus save his earthly life while committing a mortal sin, or refuse to be imprisoned and killed. The statement, Thomas More chose to be beheaded, is parallel here. Interesting.